We are just a few weeks away from training camp, and the New York Knicks have 14 out of 15 roster spots filled. But thanks to an NBA insider, we now have some information on what the New York Knicks' plans are for that final roster spot. We're also going to take a look into Immanuel Quickley's contract extension, as Ian Bagley from SNY gives us an update on that too. We're going to break down all of this and so much more today. Let's get started. The New York Knicks have made a decision on their final roster spot. Now, as you may have known, the New York Knicks currently have 14 out of 15 roster spots filled. That means they can fill up to one more spot heading into next season, if they choose to, but they haven't done so yet. And thanks to Ian Bagley, we now have more information on what they plan to do with that final remaining roster spot. According to Ian Bagley, the Knicks have 14 players on traditional NBA contracts at the moment. You can have a maximum of 15 players on traditional NBA deals in the regular season. So the Knicks can still add a player to their roster via free agency or trade. However, according to Bagley, if I had to guess, I don't think they're planning to add a rotation player with that open roster spot. Prior to the 2023 FIBA World Cup, some strategists in the organization felt very comfortable with Josh Hart playing the power forward position in the second unit and thriving as a screener / short roller in that unit. Ian Bagley also continues by saying the following: I mentioned the FIBA World Cup because there is a chance that the thinking has shifted based on performances from Hart or RJ Barrett during the tournament. So it seems like the New York Knicks are comfortable heading into next season with 14 out of the 15 roster spots filled because they already know what we kind of already knew heading into next season, given all the rumors and reports on it. The New York Knicks are going to play Josh Hart and to an extent RJ Barrett at spot minutes at the backup power forward position heading into next season. Now, does it matter that they have Nathan Knight, a power forward, a more true power forward, on a two-way deal that they can convert into a standard NBA contract to fill that last roster spot? Could they do that? And should they do that? In my opinion, yes, because it allows Josh Hart to play his more natural position. It doesn't put him up against all of those bigger players, which he might have a problem guarding, and they might be stronger than him, so they might be able to push him around a lot easier, regardless if they're backups or not, and regardless if Hart plays bigger than his position. I think that it would make sense to convert somebody you already have to fill that position into that final roster spot. But at least according to the New York Knicks as of right now, per Ian Bagley, they are not filling that roster spot. They are not going to convert one of their two-way players, and they're not going to find somebody on the free agent market now to add them to fill that spot. It seems very, very clear that Josh Hart is going to play spot minutes at the backup forward position, whether we like it or not. And according to Ian Bagley, the support for Hart at backup power forward indicates that New York isn't looking for a rotation player at the position with their open roster spot. And another thing to point out here is there is a financial implication to adding another player. New York is hard capped at $172.34 million in 2023-2024 thus far. So they cannot exceed $172.34 million in team salary at any point this season. This is a very important update that we have here from SNY's Ian Bagley, because obviously we already knew that Josh Hart had favor within the organization to play the backup 4 spot, but something I wasn't even considering: the financial obligation of adding another player to your roster and completing that 15-man roster rotation. The Knicks, I want to point out, do not need to fill that final roster spot heading into next season. They can go into next season with 14 active players. And if you know Thibs, that's not a problem because he normally goes with a 9-man rotation. So honestly, no issue there for the New York Knicks. But the financial obligation part was something that really just brushed across my head, past my head. I didn't even think about it. Because for me, I was thinking the Knicks need to add somebody that they can rely on after Julius Randle plays his minutes, and that is already not in the game, not in the flow of the game, and already not playing a position that we need. Josh Hart likely will play the 3 or the 2 for the New York Knicks, either starting or coming off the bench. If he plays spot minutes at the backup 4 position, it's not like he can't do that. We see with Team USA that he is capable of doing that, but it does depend on the talent that you surround Josh Hart with in order for him to be able to play that position. I argue that the New York Knicks right now don't have the pieces available to put Josh Hart at the 4, even at spot minutes. Because even if you want to argue that he's going to go up against backup power forwards, they're still going to be strong and they're still going to be taller than him. So they're going to take advantage of his height. Even though he plays taller than his position, it's not going to matter because rebounding is one thing. Playing in position, playing in the post, being able to take contact, and shooters being able to shoot over you because of your size, that's important. But after this report, we finally understand why the New York Knicks potentially will go into next season with 14 players. We understand that they're comfortable with Josh Hart, and we also understand that there is a financial obligation to adding another player to this roster. So for all of those reasons alone, I would say that Josh Hart is definitely playing backup power forward minutes, and absolutely that the New York Knicks have made the decision to go into next season with 14 players on their roster and no more. We have a minor update on the Immanuel Quickley contract status with the New York Knicks. Now, heading into this season, one of the main things to talk about and discuss was Immanuel Quickley and his contract. How much was he going to get paid? For how many years? Was he going to get traded? Was he going to be utilized for a star? Well, thanks to Ian Begley, we now have some more information on the New York Knicks and what they plan to do with Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley, according to Ian Begley, is eligible for a rookie extension. The deadline to reach an agreement is October 24th, one day before the regular season. Traditionally, negotiations with players in Quickley's situation, mid to late first-round picks who have played well enough to earn a significant extension, start to pick up in earnest prior to training camp. I would be a bit surprised if they didn't get a deal done. Shout out to Ian Begley for a very good update here on Immanuel Quickley and his contract status with the New York Knicks. According to Ian Begley, it seems that the Knicks will offer Quickley a contract extension before October 24th, and that Ian Begley himself believes that he would be surprised if the Knicks and Quickley didn't get a deal done. And that's very important because a lot of people were actually thinking that the New York Knicks may trade Quickley, so there's no point in giving him that extension. But if the New York Knicks want to increase his value before trading him, this might be the route that they go through. It's important to note that if the New York Knicks do extend Quickley and pay him, it becomes extremely difficult to include him in a trade in the 2023-2024 season. Quickley's extension would come with a poison pill provision. The provision creates a wide gap between incoming and outgoing salary in any trade that involves Quickley. If the Knicks don't agree to an extension with Quickley, that $4 million 2023-2024 salary is the only number to consider in potential trades. In that scenario, a trade involving Quickley becomes much more straightforward. The guess here is that the Knicks and Immanuel Quickley find common ground on an extension before opening night. So even though the New York Knicks could extend Quickley this offseason before the season starts, it doesn't mean that they will. They could opt to go ahead and not extend him, let him ride out into the season with that $4 million contract, and then match any offer next offseason that any team would pay him to keep him on the New York Knicks. They could go that direction. Or, as Ian Begley states here, and he believes, the Knicks and Quickley will figure out an extension before it gets to the opening night of the season. So the Knicks do have some options. They don't just need to rush to an extension right now and pay him this offseason. But doing so might help them, because if Immanuel Quickley takes another leap this season and gets even better, then the price tag for him could be a lot higher than it is right now. But if they pay him now, they may not have to worry about that. So the New York Knicks are going to have a lot of decisions to make, not only with Josh Hart and what he's going to do in terms of his position and play, but in regards to Immanuel Quickley and how much and how long they want to pay him for. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment below, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.